we're doing a True Ice Machine unboxing and install. This True Ice Machine just kind of got released maybe earlier this year. It's the first time I'm doing it, and I'm going to walk you through the process, show you everything I see out of the box, how to install it, set it in place, run the drain, run the power line, run the water line, all that good stuff. Just pull the box off. There's your model number, 600-pound machine, air cooled. I don't have all of this memorized of what it actually stands for. It is an R290 ice machine. Just gonna pull this plastic bag off, get a look at the front of the ice machine and the back, unwrapped and pulled out. This thing looks really good. True label in the front. There's some screws holding the front panels together, and comes with this. I believe they call it True Connect. Essentially, there's a wireless program or some type of wireless communication between this and some type of desktop program that you can check on the status of your ice machine. I've loosened up the two screws on the front panel. I'm mainly opening this up because I believe this is the install manual. There's a lot of good information on the inside. I haven't read through it yet, so I'm not gonna bore you with that. I'm gonna disconnect this and see what we need to do to install this ice machine. We're taking down that old Ice-O-Matic, putting this one in its place. First step is to shut off the water, unplug it, get that thing taken down. Since we have to lift this thing up and put it up top, I'm gonna take off the top panel. I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna take off the side panel. Take off this side panel. There's a wire that connects to this front panel. I may not take it off. I don't know how easy or hard it is gonna be to disconnect that wire. Like I mentioned before, the information on the inside of the front panel. This is actually just all the cleaning instructions, the sanitizing instructions, and then all the things that you can adjust, like the password, cube size, the weekly maintenance schedule, the level of, where is it at? The level of, adjust the level of scale, adjust purge amount. I think there's a way you can adjust how high the ice is inside the bin, because this machine uses, I think they call it a time of flight sensor, to control when the machine shuts off based off sensor sensing how high the ice is inside the bin, or in this case, the dispenser. Another cool thing that I'm seeing is the True Ice Machine comes pre-equipped with the, basically like a Luminice growth inhibitor, keeps slime and stuff from growing inside your ice machine. And on the inside of the top panel, you have your wiring diagram and a printout. They went way above and beyond and made this thing giant, very easy to read, with all your components labeled out, like your compressor, your pumps, your hot gas valves, and a big printout of your control board, a little printout of the control board, and apparently their fans have 3 speeds depending on how you wire it, so that's really cool. Inside the installation manual, they have a breakdown of how you read the model number. So that model number is a TI, which just means it's a True Ice Machine. The 630 means that's a 600-pound capacity, 30 inches wide. The MA means that it's a modular and air-cooled. S1 means it's a small cube, 120 volt. And the last letter, the A, is the version. And I assume they only have one version so far because they just came out with it. To install this ice machine, you have your water inlet connection right here, which is a 1/2 inch water connection. And then your drain right here, which is a 3/4 inch drain connection. And right behind here is where we'll plug in our power cord. Just need to screw that off and actually install a power cord. Just took this one down. I snipped the power cord. It's obviously kind of dirty, but we'll clean that up, and we're just gonna reuse this power cord and install it on this machine. Got the power cord installed. White wire goes to white wire, black wire goes to black wire, and then you have to make your ground connection. There's also this little tag in here that breaks it down for you. Green is ground, white is neutral, and then black is your L1. These just get shoved up in here, and then we'll put the cover back on. This is important. Some people don't install this, and then your cord will end up getting rubbed out and then causing a short and electrocuting somebody. And then we're just gonna install that. Water fitting is installed. We're using a barbed fitting. We're just gonna put basically like a soda tubing or a water line over the top and then put a clamp on it. And then that's gonna be our drain line, and we'll plug that in once we get it up there. Getting ready to put this ice machine up in place. A little bit of an issue with our drain because of how low this is sitting and the fact that we have this lip up here. I'm going to have to trim a piece off the back in order for the ice machine to sit flush along the edge of the dispenser and not be held up on the drain on that metal flange. So I'm just gonna use a tape measure, use a grinder, and just cut out maybe a 3-inch section to give us some wiggle room. And just like that, we have our notch cut out to where our drain can sit straight back, and then we can plug in the bottom of it. Change of plans with the covered ice after cutting that, and then not really being confident about the ice being protected. Just ended up taking it all out and cleaning out the dispenser. Now it's time to put the ice machine up on top. So totally slipped my mind, but the True Connect needs to be plugged in. There are the two little black grommets or whatever you want to call them, the pass-through holes right here. There's some wires on that side. Unfortunately, that wall's right there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed some wires through and then plug this in so that thing's actually on and activated. Just like I was saying before, we got our two plugs plugged in. The top one is TEC, and then your power plugs in down here where it says power. This True Ice machine is up in place. Last couple of steps before we can fire it on. It still needs to be plugged in. The water is connected and the drain still needs to be connected. We're working on getting the last couple pieces done, and then we're gonna fire it up and see how it runs. Just plugged it in. We still don't have any water, but there's one setting that I need to change. It's the time of flight sensor. Essentially what it does is it uses a, I'm not sure the technical name for it, but pretty much a sensor that sends a beam down, measures how long it takes to go back up, time of flight for that beam to return. We use that on dispensers so that as the ice agitates, the ice doesn't push up and show you. So this is what normally would turn the machine off on full bin, but if your ice is all the way up at this level, what happens is that metal rod turns, it'll push all this stuff up and possibly break the curtain, possibly pop this guy off. So we're gonna use the sensor instead of the damper. Although if you turn the sensor on, if for some reason the sensor fails, the damper will still shut the machine off on full bin or full dispenser. To turn on the time of flight sensor, we're going to the service menu, TOF, time of flight. Right now it's not on. It says right here, use time of flight sensor for full bin test. 0 equals no, 1 equals yes. So we're gonna change this from 0 to 1. And it shows that we are at 42% full, but that's based off if this machine was on a storage bin. I have to figure out how to change this and what the correct setting is. So distance between the sensor and the bottom of the storage bin is 95 centimeters. But because we're on a dispenser, I have to change that measurement. I have to probably change the freaking centimeters to something that I can understand, like inches and feet. But I'm gonna figure that out real quick and let you know. Just got off the phone with True Ice Tech Support and verified all these numbers. So because we're on a dispenser, it's about 2 feet from the bottom of this to the bottom of the dispenser. So that's 65 centimeters. It's a little bit more than 2 feet. And he said that I can't change it to feet and inches, which kind of sucks. This 9% is pretty much just saying, hey, between the bottom of the bin and the top, there's whatever 80% or 81% of the distance is what's still remaining. Let's see, distance between time of flight sensor and full bin is at 25, so it's only going to fill up just slightly more than halfway. And then this one, like I said before, you have it at number 1 to enable it. If it's set to 0, then the time of flight sensor is turned off. And then the full bin ice threshold is 90%. And that's it. It's gonna fill up 90% of the way. A couple of quick notes for ice machine operation. They recommend that you run the machine through a clean cycle with sanitizer before initial startup. I've already sprayed all my surfaces with sanitizer and rinsed everything down, so we're good. We're gonna go to hit the button make ice, which is right here. And then we're just gonna go through startup. It does say to ensure that the bin control is operating during the first 5 minutes of freeze. We're gonna hold down the damper and see if the machine shuts off. It might not work right now because it's not in freeze. Oh, actually, there it goes. It shut off. It says about 11 seconds, but then we're just gonna let that go and it should start back up and do essentially the same thing. After holding the damper down, it does say full bin. I let it go. There's probably some sort of delay and then it'll go back to making ice. While we're waiting for the 1 minute delay to time out, I'll show you how to adjust your ice thickness. You hit the little gear, hit that ice cube, and it shows you -6 is your thinnest setting, +6 is your max setting, 0 is factory setting for 1/8 inch bridge thickness, and it kind of runs you through the process of adjusting the ice thickness. This touchscreen is very awesome. It gives you a lot of information, shows you the temperature of your evaporator plate, shows that you're in harvest, and then before that was saying, oh, now it's in ice making. It's got your timer built in. This number is gonna start going down. Really, really cool stuff. True ice machine installed, in my opinion, top-notch product. I'm usually particular to the Manitowoc, and whenever anyone asks me, I always recommend that they buy a Manitowoc. Now that this True is out and I got to install one and play with the features and see how it operates, probably gonna start recommending True. I know they're a little bit the pricier side, kind of up there with Hashizaki, but it's a really awesome product. The remote monitoring is a game changer. You can turn it on, turn it off, see what components aren't working, see how much ice is in the bin, the last time it was clean. You can really do anything. The True Ice Machine is a must-have. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Make sure you check out Ice Machine 411.